asking a question to please mute your line.
Your
This way it's
conference is
not that.
being recorded.
All right, so welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. We're going to be looking at how motivating by what drives us. One of the biggest questions that I get a lot, or the discussions that I have quite often, are how do I give feedback to this person, or how do I motivate this person? So we're really going to definitely look at today understanding most specifically based on their highest drive. So when you're looking at their PI graph there, honest to goodness, we're just going to pick apart that one highest drive today, a little bit with one of the factor combinations, but really just looking at what motivates people by that highest drive. So as we get started, the three things that we're going to sort of break down here today are motivation, so how to motivate people based on what drives them. Feedback, because that's one I get a lot too. So I've got some, I'd like to give this person some feedback. Sometimes it's constructive feedback, sometimes it's critical feedback, and it can be difficult understanding exactly how best to present this information for best use. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about what each drive and how each drive likes to be praised. Each of us actually like to be praised differently. If you're the kind of manager that really likes that sort of grandiose public, hey, you did such a great job. Hey, everybody, Larissa did such a great job on this project. Let's all give her a hand. That can be highly motivating for one person and really embarrassing for another and really uncomfortable. So we're going to take a look at that as well. So we're going to look at what motivates us, how best to give feedback, and how people like to be praised. You guys know I love to start with a little cartoon here. So this is, my golden rule. If you've worked with me before, you understand golden rule managing with me is just because it's the way I like to do it doesn't mean it's the way that the people that I lead and coach and manage like to do it. So we're going to cultivate loyalty today and increase it by 30% or you're all fired. For some people, that's actually very motivating, and for other people, not so much. So we're going to look at different ways that we all work with it. One thing that's really important to remember, though, with each of these, with motivation, with feedback, and with praise, is to really focus on the one-on-one relationship that you have with the person that you're communicating with. And as I mentioned, some people do like more public praise. It's rare that people like public feedback or criticism. So really cultivating that one-on-one relationship, really connecting and aligning yourself with who they are. And there are some tools in the system that we'll look at the end of our talk today that can help you understand that. But that's really what's going to give you the best base for both inspiration and feedback. Really understanding and cultivating a one-on-one relationship with your people. One other difference that I like to point out today as we start to dive in, sometimes we can get lost in language a little bit, but when we're talking about managing and coaching, right, managing is really about the functional space. It's about the tasks at hand. It's about the job that needs to get done. And we do need to manage people through that, right? So for those of us who lead people or are led by people, understanding the differences between when I'm managing or being managed, that's really more about the functional side, the planning, budgeting, evaluating, Coaching is more that relational side, and it's about inspiring and motivating with people. And on the coaching side, we're really looking more at asking great questions and really listening to the answers. Managing is a little bit more about talking and telling. So knowing when you're in each space, and there is valuable time for each of them. There's time to manage the process, and then there's a time to coach a person through it. So understanding kind of the difference there as we get into when we're really looking to motivate someone, we're really in the coaching space rather than in the managing space. So just a good distinction to start with. So diving right in here. So when we look at the 4 drives, we're going to look first at the impact on motivating. So as I mentioned in the start, but good reminder is what we're looking through today is that if dominance is my highest drive, right? So only if dominance is my highest drive, this is where you want to really focus in on how I'm motivated. So with the highest level of dominance, I need opportunities for winning. You want to motivate me, turn it into a game that I can win. I really thrive on that kind of competition. Let me go after it autonomously. Kind of give me the high level, let me know that I can win at this, and kind of let me out of the gate. Also, give me the ability to share and drive my ideas forward. So if you're someone who is leading someone with high dominance or leading a team of high dominance people, those are the people that like a bit of competition, a little friendly competition. Their sales teams actually really like to kind of compete against each other and who's going to win. Let them celebrate their wins as well. They're likely going to be like, pretty vocal about the fact that they're excited about that win. But really about motivating them is even turning the language into winning. So if the opportunity isn't something that can be turned into a game for winning, when you're motivating them, even turning a task into winning language, that's going to get them kind of jazzed up and ready to move forward and really motivate them into it. When we look at extraversion as the highest drive, right? So that's the drive for connection. For me, really having the ability to build and preserve relationships. So instead of winning the game, let me win over the people. Let me be able to build those relationships. Give me the ability to be the group motivator. So if you're looking to motivate someone whose highest drive is extraversion, really look at it through the lens of their relationship. Motivating through team, motivating through company loyalty, motivating through anything that you know that is of value to them in relationship. And also giving them the opportunity to socialize their information. So to motivate someone, maybe a brainstorming session, letting them talk out their ideas, telling them, hey, I want to hear your ideas on this. Let them bring you ideas and brainstorm with you. That's really going to be something that's very motivating to them. They see things through the lens of relationship. So understanding that building and preserving those relationships and motivating them through their ability to do that. When we look at patience as the highest drive, again, that's the drive for consistency. Process is incredibly important to them. So motivating them through a strong process, through persistence, their ability to keep calm. One thing that's really important too is that when you're in a motivating space with them, keep it free from pressure. There are some people for whom pressurized situations are somewhat energizing. Someone who has a high level of patience, that is the exact opposite. So really motivate them by encouraging them that they have enough time, that there's no pressure, having that ability to keep calm. Really motivate them through a good process. And be consistent and persistent with your motivating. So with your high dominance, right, it's like, hey, you're going to win this, go get it. With a high patience, you're going to want a little bit slower approach, a calmer approach, a more consistent check-in. Hey, how are you? You good? You got plenty of time to do this, no problem. No pressure here. Just want to check in and make sure that you have the process and everything that you need for your process. So more of an encouraging kind of motivation there. More hands-on than you would with a high dominance. High level of formality, which is the drive for rules and structure, they are motivated by getting it right. So dominance can sometimes be motivated by being right, High formality is about getting it right. They really want the ability to be the subject matter expert. But in order to get there, they need clear directions and expectations. So to motivate them, what is good is continually encouraging them that they're getting it right, they're doing a good job, give them very clear directions and expectations, and encourage them to be the subject matter expert on something. So if at your company you need someone who is really well versed in compliance, not a compliance officer, but hey, we really need someone to know all about these new rules and regulations of building code. Someone with a high level of formality is going to be heavily motivated by being the type of person who will do the research, find the details, put together all the information, and be the go-to person on that. So motivating them with detail, with structure, with clear direction. So just as a high-level overview here, we've got dominance is about autonomy, freedom, winning. Extraversion is connection, relationship. They actually like to be the cheerleader or the motivator. High level of patience is that process. They're the calm agent. And formality is getting it right and the subject matter expert through clear direction. So if you're looking to motivate your team, these are the ways in which to do it. Some of them are more independent, like dominance, more group-focused, like extraversion, process-focused, like patience, and detail-focused with formality. So as we move along to the next, this is going to kind of color where we move next. So next up, we have the impact on giving praise. So high level of dominance, right? Give them praise for being right. Remember, a little bit different with the language there, not necessarily getting it right, but for being right, that their ideas are great. What a great idea. You're so right on that. And really acknowledging their abilities and strengths. They already think they've got some really great ideas, so you validating that is absolutely going to just keep setting them off to the next thing. I would also advise being direct here. You can kind of come right out. You don't have to couch it or sugarcoat it or anything. You can just say, hey, you did a great job. Thanks for that. That was a great idea. With extraversion, this is where the public acknowledgement can come in. Even private validation that they're a good person. So this is more about the relational. Rather than my ideas are great, I really want the kind of praise that people like me, I'm doing a good job getting along with everybody, my clients like me. So when I'm praising, again, doing it through that lens of relation. That's going to be very important. Praising them for good communication. Praising them for their ability to work well with the group, to motivate the group. Understanding that their praise, they're looking almost like the golden retriever, like you're a good boy, you're doing a good job. Where dominance, a little bit different, they already think they are, so you're just kind of confirming that they're doing it right. They're good. They're right. When we move down to patience, here's where giving them praise, whether it's public or whether it's private, the suggestion would be to do it more privately and to give them enough of your time. Really ensuring that you make time for them. That's a big deal if you're looking to give positive feedback or giving them kind of a bit of more of your time. And praise their thoughtfulness and their ability for process. So especially if you're a low patience boss, this comes in really important here, is that one of the things that high patience people really feel grounded in, and when their leaders give them time and space to be able to actually just give them some of their time. And then finally, formality. This one is a very clear praising. Praise for doing it the right way. Give them very clear and specific examples of what they've done well. So with this, more smaller bits more often on very specific things. So letting them know, hey, you did a great job on that. That report came out really great. Thank you for that. Hey, your work on that project was well done. Here are the things that were really great about it. Appreciate that. So giving very specific, smaller nuggets of praise throughout the process or throughout something will continue to let people with high formality know, hey, okay, great, I'm doing a good job. I've done it. I've done that piece right. I can go to the next one. I've done that piece right. I can go to the next one. That can work well a little bit with patients as well, but you don't have to be as specific, but kind of slower, more steady, even-paced praise throughout. So the extraversion is really going to let you know more often A and B are both completely okay with having public praise. Depending on where those lie, again, you can bring in the other factors, but really confirming that high level of dominance is as great as they think they are. B, confirming that they're well-liked. C, confirming that they are calm, that there's time, and that you're making time for them. And then D, formality, praising them for a job well done in a very specific and clear way. So now we've gone through how we motivate and how we praise. The final piece to this puzzle is giving feedback. A little bit harder, right? Sometimes this is even difficult for the person giving the feedback. So when it comes to someone with a high level of dominance, it's important to remember that these people are very comfortable with difficult conversations, and they enjoy a challenge, and they enjoy challenging people. So when you're ready to give them feedback, it's best to do it in a very direct, firm, and unwavering way. They can take it, is basically what I'm saying. So whatever you have to say, just be direct, be firm, tell them what's up. When you're looking to solve an issue, give them options for their improvement or give them options for solution. What this does is it allows for them to be a part of their own solution. So if there's something going on and you have to give feedback to someone with a high level of dominance, say, we've noticed that this is what's happening. Here are some things that I thought that you could do, A, B, and C. What do you think is best for you? They're still your ideas, they're still your feedback, but what will happen is they will feel like they have still somewhat autonomy or control to choose which one is right for them. You'll get less of a challenge and less of kickback if you give that feedback in that way. And just remember, especially if you're someone with lower level of dominance, to stand firm. Just kind of muster what you can and be that direct, that firm, and that unwavering, giving them those options, and then allow them to be a part of the solution going forward. Giving feedback to someone with a high level of extraversion, one key thing to note is that to ensure that it's not personal, ensure that you're using relational language. So what I mean by not personal is people with higher levels of extraversion, because they are so relationship focused, they can tend to internalize things and make it more personal, and that they're bad for doing this. So one thing that's important to do is that kind of direct, firm unwaveringness that a high dominance could be too much for a high formality. A high extroversion, excuse me. So soften a little bit. Become relational in your language and ensure them that the feedback is not personal, that it's just feedback. And really put it through the lens of how it's affecting others and how it's affecting the team. It'll take a little bit of the stress off of them to see, wow, okay, the impact of this thing that I need to improve upon, here's how it's affecting the company, here's how it's affecting the team, here's how it's affecting others. it will let them take a little bit of pressure off and be able to absorb it. Then when we're working with giving feedback to people with high levels of patience, approach the feedback slowly and calmly. Even if that's not your nature, this is something to very much remember. To be calm and slow and even in your speech. Ensure that you've dedicated enough time to discuss it fully with them. They're going to need some time, so make sure that you've cleared enough time on your schedule and aren't doing just kind of a drive-by, pop-by feedback. They need to feel free of that stress and pressure to be able to receive it well. So just understanding that, slow it down, calm it down. If there's any kind of high emotion around it or heatedness, wait until that has passed and give it very calmly, even approach. And really making sure that you've got enough time to discuss it. And then finally, with formality, again, specific examples. This is really very important here for our high formality people. Come with specific examples for them. Give clear details of what your expectations were, where it may have deviated, and how they could do differently in the future. Really important here to frame it in a way without blaming the person. High formality can be quite sensitive to criticism, especially when it's something that they really thought they had done right, that they followed the directions or thought they had all the information. Turns out maybe there was new information or directions changed, but they too can internalize a little bit from a process or from a detail-oriented place. So really coming back with those specific examples, framing it in a way where you're not blaming them, it's not their fault, but that this thing happened, it needs to be corrected, and here's how to correct it. And then also, I didn't put this on here, but allowing them to come back to you later and show you that they've corrected it. They're going to want to, they take pride in being precise. They take pride in doing things right. That's their highest motivator, right? Getting it right. So they're going to want to come back and show you once they've fixed it. So go back and give that praise of very specifically, wow, this is so great. I see how you've improved on that thing exactly where I told you. Thank you so much for this. That kind of closes that loop on giving the feedback, understanding what motivated them, and then praising them after they've completed it. So a couple other things to just keep in mind and some tools that we've got is always remember what someone's AB orientation is, which can help communication, right? So the 4 drives individually are what's going to give us our motivation, our praise, and our feedback. But it's also helpful to remember whether someone is A over B, that task orientation, you can be that more direct, or B over A, ensure that you're a little bit more relational. Just a really good thing to keep in mind when you are then giving that praise and giving that feedback. How do I remember whether someone is A over B or B over A? Well, here we have the PI Insight. This is a new tool in the system. I'm sure most of you have been using this so far, but it's just a great thing. It lays it all out for you there. So you can see this person leads with their B, right? So they're sociable. Just understanding that that's the thing that's going to be the biggest motivator for this person. And then also understanding that they're a B over A communicator, that people orientation. Also, this is just a clearer view if you couldn't see it before. I also mentioned the relationship guide. I had to chop it up here so that you could see it, but very useful tool for you as a manager to go in and run this on the person that you want to motivate, that you need to give feedback to, or even that you want to praise. This isn't all just crisis management, right? This is all about really just learning how to relate with each other in all types of situations, positive, negative, and neutral. So going in and checking your relationship guide to see where, hey, you know what? I'm going to stumble a little bit here because I might dominate the agenda. And Laurie's concerns might get overlooked. So I'm really going to kind of take a step back, right? Oh, that high C and that high D, right? She likes to get things right. I'm going to give her the time to do that. So really important, just a quick check, easy tool for when you're relating. The management strategy guide, most of you know how much I love this as well. Going in and checking out which ones are kind of related to motivating, which are related to more process management, right? So some things are more of the managing, like giving opportunities to solve problems by themselves. What's more about timing, right? Oh, I have to avoid last-minute requests and interruptions. This can help both coach, manage, and motivate. So lean on this tool as well. And this half hour goes so fast. Our final, just remember the three biggest areas that impact workplace dynamics are communication, decision-making, and taking action. Really knowing and understanding how I'm communicating, how somebody else makes decisions, and how people take action are just so important when kind of working at any point with people. So as we wrap up here, our next Lunch and Learn will be just after Christmas. We're a little screwy with our dates during the holidays, but December 27th. The topic is TBD. I haven't come up with it yet, so if you've got some burning issues that you want to talk about, you let me know. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now and open it up for questions, so thanks for joining.